Hello and welcome to the Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm your host, Kimberly Whitfield, and I am so excited to bring to you today an episode about stress management. It's something that is so relevant in our society today, and maybe not even stress management. Maybe we should say it's how to live, how to get tips from the best in the industry around how to live a blissful, happy, peaceful life, and to make sure you take time for yourself. So I am here with some of the finest in real estate and having to do with real estate, because it has to do with everybody. To my right is Monica Stone, Senior Loan Officer and Realtor at Everwise Home Loans and Realty. Welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being here. And to Monica's right is Dr. Ashley Alexis, ND, owner of Golden Leaf Health Center. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And to Dr. Alexis's right, I have Carolyn Gross, award-winning, this is a mouthful, okay? Award-winning speaker, author, and patient advocate, as seen on NBC, ABC, and Lifetime TV, Creative Life Solutions. So welcome, Carolyn. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's
Awesome.
a pleasure.
Awesome. So, so today we're going to be talking about stress management. I'll change that title halfway through the show. I don't know. But I want to come to you, Monica, first and foremost, because we all know that stress affects our health, and you have, you're here, you have a successful business, and you're happy. But you have a bit of a story around stress affecting your life and how you've come to be where you are at now. So would you tell the audience a little bit about it?
Just a little bit off the bat is I used to thrive off stress. That's what I thought kept me going. And I found it, I hit a wall at some point in quite a severe way, facing cancer. So I really had to make huge changes, and I didn't even do it immediately. It's something that sort of came along the way, but it's definitely something to look at, because I truly believe it was stress that triggered that off in the first place for me.
Yeah, and you have a very successful business and a happy life right now. Why don't you tell us a little bit
Yes,
about
I'm very
that?
fortunate. I've had the best quarter of my life business-wise. I feel like I'm finally getting back on track. I have amazing relationships with my family, and they're so supportive, and I think that's put me where I am today.
And probably living life very differently than you were before.
Very much so.
Yeah, happier, more peaceful.
I take a beat.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And we're going to talk a little bit more about your life and your business as we get further in the episode. But I want to introduce Dr. Alexis. Thank you for being here, Dr. Alexis.
Thank you for having me.
And so I want to first have you talk a little bit about your business and your Golden Leaf Health Center, which takes a very holistic approach to healing.
Yeah, definitely. So I opened Golden Leaf Health Center in March this year, and I really take a deep dive in people's health history, and we look at the chronic and acute conditions that they have, and we work to resolve them, and then set in a long-term plan for health and prevention. So I really have a big focus on that, and also regenerative therapies that really play a big role in longevity.
And so how did you come to launch this business?
Sure. So I was been in practice in another clinic for about a year and a half, and I felt that I wanted to approach health my own way and have a different message, and so I decided to branch out on my own.
Amazing. That's how some of the most genius businesses to help people are started.
Definitely.
So awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. And Carolyn Gross, I would love to hear from you. I know you cover so much territory in how you help people and just educate people. Tell the audience, tell me, tell all of us a little bit about you and how you came to be where you are now and impacting so many lives.
So I really relate to Monica, because I'm one of those people who just loves to work, loves to connect, loves success, and I burned out at the age of 28. And this is before all the digital age where we were wired all the time. So I took my proactive approach to learning about health at that point. And a lot of people in their 20s aren't studying, health and wellness and life balance, right? But I did. And eventually, with the desire to educate people, because I did heal and learn a lot about balance, I became a published author. I did hands-on work as a cranial sacral therapist, so I worked in that natural, Zen type of work, and then eventually became an educator and do seminars and life coaching for 20 years.
Amazing, amazing. Well, I know I personally am very passionate about holistic health and well-being, and so just to be here with all of you and how you've come to be and impacting so many lives that you are impacting is super exciting for me. So I want to come back to you, Monica. I know that these two ladies have a lot of experience in helping to just live the best healthful life, and I'd love to hear from you about how you've come into really starting to stay ahead of your business and having the best quarter of your life, and what are some of the things that you've learned through this journey, and what would you give to the audience today around that?
I mean, it seems simple, but it's so hard to do sometimes, to be organized, because then you're prepared for situations that can arise. You can be super busy, and if you're not handling it well, whomever you're working with will definitely know. It will always come across, and that's when mistakes happen. And when you're not as busy, that's when you take time to get organized and prepare for the next stage that you might be, or learn more, do continuing education, reach out to those you haven't spoken to for a while, like do simple networking and make real connections with people. So using your time wisely, but then if you're organized, it really helps everything come together, whether you're busy or not.
Totally. And what would you say is maybe one of the things that you going through, the experiences you've been through over the past few years, helps you to be, and it may be being organized, but what helps you to be better for your clients? Like what sets you apart?
I've been in situations where if I'm not getting them the best situation for them, or can be readily available for them, getting them the best pricing on their loan, which is very unlikely. But there has been times where I have handed a file or referred someone else to just let someone else deal with it, because I really feel better about making them in the best situation, whether it's me being the forefront or not, but still keeping a connection. Like I've had people say, that's crazy, you handed the file over to someone else. Like, yeah, because it was better for them and made me feel better. I would have never done that before. That's
amazing. I mean, so you're learning to say no.
But definitely, you really have to learn to say no.
Becoming a master delegator, which I think it's important. I think it's very underrated in today's society.
Extremely so. Yeah. If someone told me that a long time ago, I'd be like, why would you ever do that? It's like, because you want peace in your life, and you want good for others, and it helps you sleep at night.
Absolutely. So when we come back, we're going to talk with Dr. Alexis and Carolyn, and of course we're going to continue this amazing conversation around how to live a blissful life without stress. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We have a lot of exciting things to cover still. I'm your host, Kimberly Whitfield. We'll see you soon.
Hey guys, how are you today?
Good.
I'm here to talk about how with technology you can make amazing worlds. Come with me. My team and I groomed the Halo world to life.
Is that you?
That is me. I wasn't a math genius and I knew nothing about coding. But you guys do. You guys have the power to change things.
I want your job.
I want you to have my job.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Hello and welcome back to the finest women in real estate. I'm your host, Kimberly Whitfield, and we left off with, I was going to go and talk with Dr. Alexis about some of what she does in her practice all the time. And I know one of the things that I've recognized in my life is learning the cues of when I'm stressed out, and I'm sure everyone else does, or maybe people don't pay attention. I know for a long time I didn't pay attention. So what are the 3 phases that you talk about of stress response, and how do people how do people navigate that? How do they go and help reduce that?
Yeah, definitely. So like you said, it is important to realize when you are triggered and in a stressful state. So there's a syndrome called general adaptation syndrome, and there's 3 phases to that syndrome. So the first phase is the alert phase. That's when the stressful stimulus appears. Let's say, evolutionarily speaking, a bear comes and it's threatening your safety. So what does your body do, right? You want to be alert, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases. Something happens in your peripheral and your hands and your feet, all the blood in those areas want to shunt to the core to protect your vital organs. So that's what causes your high blood pressure, right? So all those things are preparing you to either fight or flight. You're in that sympathetic, get out of the situation or defend yourself state, right? And so the second phase we move into is the resistance phase. This is when typically an American who faces chronic stress on a daily basis, they start to tap into their reserves. So your adrenal response, all those stress hormones that are released, continue to release all the nutrients that your body is kind of processing to sustain that level of alertness is being tapped out. So then you start getting into exhaustion phase where you hit burnout, depression, anxiety, you start having digestive issues, you start having times where you can't fall asleep at night, and all those things manifest potentially to chronic disease later in life if they're not taken care of immediately.
Absolutely. So that's great, and recognizing is great, and knowing the phases is great. So how would one go about reducing the stress once they recognize what's happening in their bodies?
Absolutely. So mindfulness-based practices is a really good start. And those, a lot of people are familiar with, yoga, breathing, breath work. And I think a lot of people overlook that, how powerful just sitting in silence for a couple minutes every day could really reset your body and bring you back to that parasympathetic state of rest and digest and peace. That's what I call it. So we want to incorporate those into our daily practices, and it could be exercise, it could be spending time with people that you love, a community that you have, a religious support group. Those are the things that are vital to keeping you in a healthy state of mind as well.
Amazing. And one of the things that, again, is just so not talked about in our society is breathing.
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
don't breathe unless we focus on breathing.
Right.
And you can calm yourself in a few seconds just by breathing.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for all of that. And I know that the audience is going to benefit greatly from all of this wisdom that you have to share.
Sure.
So awesome. Now, Carolyn.
Yes.
How do you go about, really helping people to become aware about rising above the chaos in their environment? Because we all have a bit of chaos, right?
We all do have a little bit of chaos. A lot of it comes from our favorite friend, our digital device, because we're wired into everything. We don't even have to show up at the office or at work. People are reaching out to us, and I recently was speaking and I said, how many people get texts from clients on Sunday? Everybody raised their hands. And I thought it was me because I was working with patients at the time. And no, we're wired all the time. So starting the day, how you start and how you finish are really important to me. And setting those rituals, like we've just heard about getting that mindfulness practice. Figure out what your niche is. Is it reading? Is it walking? Is it meditating? Is it praying? What is your ritual you need to start your day before you pick up the phone? Because we actually sometimes don't even think we're awake until we touch the phone. It's like we're checking in. Okay, universe, I opened my eyes. And I really caution people, wait at least a half an hour and find a way to create that Zen space before you engage in your day.
Amazing. So another thing that I think is probably a big deal, we have the chaos in our environment, but what about the chaos inside? How do you help people to navigate that and calm that chaos?
What's happening now is, I've already mentioned all the external chaos that, we're wired all the time, but a lot of times when I'm working with clients who are near brownout or burnout, I'll be saying, is this chaos you're experiencing coming from internal chaos, which is emotional, mental chaos, or is it the environment? Always how we're reacting is going to either amplify or, help to quell and calm you. And so having the two is really necessary today because things have escalated. So now it's like, the better I know myself, the better I show myself. So I've got to put myself in environments consistently where I show good because I don't want to cause stress for myself or others. And that's part of it, is managing that internal element of where can I go, make the best impact, and have the least amount of threatening or burnout situations.
Amazing. So I'm so excited about all of this. I love all of this information, and I'm sure, Monica, that some of these things are probably bringing up things that you have been doing in your world.
Doing and recalling.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would you recommend are what are your top 3 things that you think have had the biggest impact on calming your chaos both externally and internally?
The 3 points that came to mind originally was like staying ahead of your business and being organized and that type of thing. Because the biggest one is my phone starts going off at 6 in the morning. I've learned to switch off, and everyone knows, like between 8 and 9, like I'm done, and that's usually when I'm settled up and going to sleep, because I know I'm going to have to switch on at a certain time in the morning. So it's usually about 5:30. Let the doggies out, have a moment, have a cup of tea, and then I know that my phone is going to start with emails and calls, but then I try to be ready for it. So being organized and prepared, whether it's on my schedule personally or business-wise, it really, really helps tackle that. To also be, to take a moment, to take a beat, take a breath. It's so important. Like you said, just stopping for a second to breathe can, if many people did that, our world would be a different place.
Absolutely.
Because we just don't take a moment to breathe. We have knee-jerk reactions, and it's learning to tame that back a bit, because getting that anger or reaction is not always a positive one, and you want to try to switch it as early on as you can. And third, mental health affects your physical health. A lot of the time when you're busy, sometimes it's because you're not tackling other things in your life big time. It could be family, relationships, and you're like, I'm busy, which I did myself. So when I did hit the wall, and in the sense of my body is like, you need to stop, we got to deal with this now.
Yeah.
That was a lot of time to reflect, heal, tackle things, relationships. It really helped to make me who I am today, to be peaceful, and that's huge for me.
Amazing. So I'm sure both of you ladies are recognizing this is what you hear from your clients. This is what you hear from people all the time. So we're gonna come back, and we're gonna wrap it up. But when we do come back, so don't go anywhere. When we do come back, we're going to wrap it up and give you guys some of the best advice for how to really just live your best life and have the best health possible. So, Finest Women in Real Estate, I'm your host, Kimberly Whitfield. We'll see you when we come back.
Put the keys down, Kevin.
But I'm gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
My text to emoji ratio has gotten a little out of hand.
A little?
Yep, I'm definitely gonna call a ride home.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Hello and welcome back to the Finest Women in Real Estate. I'm your host, Kimberly Whitfield, and we are here with some of the finest in real estate and the finest in their expertise of helping us to manage stress and just live your best life. When we left off, we're talking with Monica, and she was giving some like her top 3 things around how she has completely transformed her life and lives a very different life than she did before, which was a very stressful life versus now a very not stressful life. One of those things was being organized. Another was delegating and saying no, learning how to say no and being in your own power and saying no. And the last one, which really resonated with me, was using stress as like an avoidance mechanism for all the other stuff that you need to deal with in your life. And I know I've done that. I'm sure the audience will get a lot out of reflecting on that and figuring out what they're avoiding because they are feeding off of that stress. And so I want to come to Carolyn, and I want you to, just what are your final expert tips, closing out here? What would you like to give the audience and give all of us, because we're all here listening too?
All right. Well, because I already talked about the external versus the internal chaos and that we're just surrounded by it, I like people to really be proactive about creating a restorative environment, particularly in their home, because that's our sanctuary, but also in our office. And some ways that we can do that is color brings us to life, artwork, family heirlooms, photos of really great memories. Notice we always take pictures when we're really having fun. Well, put those in your environment. And then music, scent, anything that just gives you that harmonious feeling. We, I think, have to create that. The other thing is the people that you are working with. It's called the human biofield, but when you shift your office, which is why Feng Shui is so powerful, or your home, you do sort of reboot your battery and your sense of self, like a restart. So I think we have to take control of our external environment and make it restorative as well.
I love that. Your sanctuary, make it your healing sanctuary.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Yeah.
Dr. Alexis, I know that you probably have a ton that you could share, but I'd love to just hear your final thoughts and what you would love to bring to the audience to maybe help them move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Along with the wonderful advice that Carolyn gave us, I would say to incorporate some adaptogenic herbs into your diet. And adaptogenic herbs help modulate stress in your body. So when you're overproducing stress hormones, it brings it down, and when you're underproducing, it brings it up to a nice balance. So 3 of my favorite adaptogenic herbs are ashwagandha, rhodiola, and holy basil, also known as tulsi. These are really good herbs that really help with deep exhaustion and stress and anxiety. And the third, also make sure that you're supplementing your diet with vitamins and minerals that you aren't getting if you aren't eating a variety of vegetables and fruits.
Amazing. So I hope you all wrote that down. If you didn't, what were those? Ashwagandha, which is one I use.
Rhodiola and holy basil.
Which is also tulsi. It's the same thing.
Yes,
okay,
absolutely.
amazing. I love this. It's like we're on Dr. Oz again. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Alexis. So much valuable information here. And Monica, do you have any final expert advice or anything you'd like to add?
Just reflection. I mean, I enjoyed hearing the experts today, and I want a link to that information too. And I put a lot of things into practice in like my own office. It makes it such a different environment.
Good.
But yeah, for me, it was like finding a new normal for sure. And you really do have to step back and assess things at times to do your environment and internal. So I'm glad I've gotten to the stage I'm at now.
Amazing. So I've learned so much today from all 3 of you. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Dr. Alexis, and thank you, Carolyn, so much for being here. My biggest takeaways are to really just look inside and pay attention to what's going on within you. So one, you know that you're stressed out, or maybe you're feeding off of that stress, but also how to not even manage it, just how to live your best life, just raise up your life, elevate your life. So thank you all so much for being here. I want to thank our sponsor, Fire Up Connect at fireupconnect.com. You can watch the episodes of The Finest Women in Real Estate live on the EAN TV network, on Amazon Fire TV and Roku, but you can also watch 24/7 on demand. I am your host, Kimberly Whitfield. Tune in to future episodes. We have always great things to share with you, and thank you for tuning in. See you all soon.